Finally, finished all the work for this month. My name is Mary Jane. Ever since I was a kid, I love drawing. I started doing freelance illustration work while I was still a student. Thankfully, I've been able to make a living as a freelance illustrator even after entering the workforce. Besides illustrations, I'm also grateful to be drawing some women's comics for specialized websites. According to my editor, my work is pretty well received. I met my husband Bruno through my job. He worked at the publishing company that I was associated with. At first, we were just professional acquaintances, but we bonded over the fact that both of us had lost our dads in accidents when we were kids. Eventually, we started going out for meals together and began dating after he confessed his feelings for me. Are you sure you want to be with someone like me? I'm pretty plain, and the only thing I'm good at is drawing.
Don't say that. I think you're incredibly talented, Mary Jane. I love how hardworking you are.
Even now, thinking back on it makes me blush a bit. But that's what he said. I had never dated anyone before, so I didn't have much self-confidence. But hearing him say that made me think that maybe it's okay to like myself a little more. His confession meant a lot to me. After dating for about 2 years, we got married. For a while after our wedding, we enjoyed our newlywed life in a newly rented condo. Both of us are in our late 20s. So we started thinking about having kids sooner rather than later. One day I was thinking about this. Then one day the topic of living with my mother-in-law came up.
Mom wants to live with us. What do you think, Mary Jane?
Your mom lives alone at her place, right?
Yeah, I know it's a bit awkward to bring this up so soon after getting married.
Apparently, it was my mother-in-law's idea. I had only met her a few times before the wedding, but she seemed youthful and very kind. Normally, the idea of living with a mother-in-law might make someone a bit cautious. But having lost my dad at a young age and living just with my mom, I've always been interested, even longing for a larger family. So I said, maybe she's feeling a bit lonely living alone. You used to visit her often before we got married, right? But that's less frequent now.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm really sorry. I should have been more attentive.
Why are you apologizing? I don't mind living with her.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes. I think it will be more fun for all of us if she lives with us.
Thank you, Mary Jane.
And so I agreed to live with my mother-in-law. My husband seemed relieved and very happy about my decision. About 6 months after our wedding, our new life with my mother-in-law began. Mary Jane, is there anything you don't like to eat? I can cook anything you want. Thank you, but I'll help with the cooking. No need, just relax. My mother-in-law was thrilled about the living arrangement and took care of most of the household chores like cooking, cleaning, and laundry. I felt a bit guilty for letting her do all the work, but given my job and constant deadlines, her help was a godsend. Just when I thought our life was going smoothly, my husband dropped a bombshell.
Mary Jane, I'm sorry, I've been suddenly transferred to a different region.
What? It seems he's been assigned to work in a different region for a few years. The news was so sudden that my mind went blank for a moment. Even though I knew that transfers are part and parcel of his job, we had just started living with my mother-in-law, and it hadn't even been a month yet. Of course, my mother-in-law and I are not related by blood. I think the reason our current living situation is going well is largely because my husband acts as a mediator. Suddenly, it's just me and my mother-in-law. Can I really handle this? To be honest, that thought crossed my mind. However, it felt heartless to suggest ending our living arrangement just because my husband would be away. I considered going with him, but staying near the city seems like it would offer more opportunities for my career. My husband must have noticed my internal struggle.
He apologized multiple times, saying, "I'm really sorry this happened so suddenly. I'll talk to Mom about it." I don't want to make things difficult for my husband, and I do have some affection for my mother-in-law since we're living together. So I decided to continue living with her. But maybe that was naive of me. For a while, she was kind to me. But about a month after my husband left, her attitude changed dramatically.
Mary Jane, instead of lazing around, how about helping with the chores?
"I'm not lazing around. I'm working, Mom."
What? You're just doodling on that board. There's no way you're making money from that.
"It's not a board. It's a tablet PC." She misunderstood my work-from-home job as unemployment. Now, she complains daily about what I should be doing.
Don't think you can fool me with your fancy words. Aren't you ashamed of dumping all the housework on me?
"I'm grateful for your help, but I also contribute $3,000 a month to the household from my income."
What? That money is from my son who's worried about me. How could an unemployed person like you afford that?
"No, you see, as I mentioned earlier, because I can help with chores due to my work, my husband and I agreed that I would contribute a significant amount from my income. I don't think money solves everything, so I help with chores when I can, but she just doesn't get it. Didn't seem to want to understand. No matter how politely I tried to talk to her, it was no use. No matter how many times I tried to explain, she shuts me out. My mom-in-law hostility escalated, and she started calling me names like
Failure, parasite,
and
unemployed.
she doesn't work. She's a housewife. She stays home most days, although she occasionally goes out. I'm financially supporting her, and this is how she treats me? Honestly, it's getting to me. I've even missed work deadlines because she forced me to help with chores, causing inconvenience to my clients and leading to apologetic phone calls. If this continues, I lose their trust. And then, one day, my brother-in-law and his wife came over, summoned by my mother-in-law. "We heard from Mom you're holed up in your room all day, just doodling?"
Seriously, how old are you? That's so lame. You're such a nerd.
My brother-in-law has a flashy appearance in a sly demeanor so different from my husband that it's hard to believe they're related. I've never liked him, even before we got married. His wife, my sister-in-law, wears heavy makeup and has a smirk on her face.
Mother-in-law, we're tired of living with Mary Jane,
they say.
"We're moving in, so get lost. You're unemployed, bum."
They look down on me and insult me freely, and my mother-in-law watches with a malicious grin. I'm frustrated with this family that doesn't even try to understand me. But I can't afford to get involved right now. I have a deadline to meet, and I need to finish my artwork. I keep telling myself this as I continue working, but it seems my mother-in-law isn't amused.
What's with that smug face? You think you're so cute? I'll take care of that tablet of yours.
Wait, Mom! She snatches my tablet PC and smashes it on the floor, then starts stomping on it. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law join in.
"Serves you right. Let me stop on it too, Mom."
Me too. This is hilarious.
They keep stomping, again and again.
Please stop.
I beg, but by the time they're satisfied, my tablet is shattered, the screen broken, and the internal components scattered. Obviously, I can't work like this. I've had enough. They better brace themselves. I've reached my limit, and I decide to move out. When I call my husband to tell him what happened, he's speechless for a moment before apologizing profusely. I don't blame him, though. I tell him I want to live with him in his rural apartment, and he readily agrees. I used to think living in the countryside wasn't ideal for my career, but now Being with my husband is what matters most. He offers to confront his mother and siblings, but I ask him to wait. I have a plan. I start preparing to move, eager to leave this house as soon as possible. But then my mother-in-law and her obnoxious kid show up, looking artificially remorseful.
What do you want? I'm busy.
Oh, we didn't know you were contributing $3,000 a month.
Yeah, we heard from our son. You've been very considerate.
I've been saying that from the start.
I realize what they're up to. They probably figured out they won't get any more money if I leave. But why my brother-in-law is involved? I have no idea.
Don't go. It will be lonely. We'll let you stay even if we move in.
If you leave, Mom says we have to contribute $3,000 a month. We can't afford that.
It's your fault she's leaving. You broke her tablet.
What? Mom started it.
We're not to blame.
They start arguing among themselves, looking more pathetic by the minute. To be honest, I couldn't care less. As I was quietly packing my things, my mother-in-law came up to me. Please, Mary Jane, I won't be able to make it without your help. You still send money even if you move out, right? I couldn't help but laugh.
Why would I? If I were not living together, I have no intention of giving you a single dollar. What? Besides, what do you mean you can't make it? I've been giving you more than enough to save more money. What have you been spending it on?
Well, that is... She's hesitated, but finally blurted out. I've been spending it on a man. I was speechless.
A man? What are you thinking, Mom?
I was lonely. Please, Mary Jane, help me keep supporting him. If you feel sorry for a widow like me.
Are you kidding? No way. Even if I find it hard to stomach, Mom?
Muttering about how terrible and mean I was, my mother-in-law slumped in defeat. I guess she was really looking forward to seeing her man. There's no helping her now.
Look, Mary Jane, we're sorry for the trouble. Let's forget the past and live happily together, okay?
No thanks. I have no intention of supporting you guys.
My brother-in-law tried to apologize in a condescending manner, but I brushed it off and continued packing. I moved out and joined my husband in his new location. Now, I'm enjoying a peaceful life in this small city. I was working quietly when I wondered how many revenge was going. Just then, my mother-in-law called.
Hello? Mom-in-law? Long time no see.
Mary Jane, you've caused a huge mess. We're in big trouble now.
What are you talking about? Don't play dumb. It's about the comic you wrote.
Ah, apparently the comic I drew has turned their lives into a living hell. The comic was my revenge. I posted it on social media, detailing how they mistreated and insulted me. It resonated with women my age and became quite popular, especially among Japanese readers. Although I didn't use their real names, some relatives who knew I drew a comic recognized the story. Now, those relatives are confronting my mother-in-law and her children.
What do we do now? Everyone knows I've been supporting a man. Well, that's good. Now you don't have to hide it. I can't see him anymore. Please, Mary Jane, smooth things over for us. No way. Why would I bother with that? Handle it yourself. No!
Her scream echoed from the other end of the line. Hearing it, I felt I'd gotten a little bit of my own back. After it came to light that the selfish mom-in-law had racked up a debt to lavish gifts on a man, she was confronted by furious relatives. The amount was so large that she couldn't possibly pay it back on her own, leading to the sale of the family home. Now, mother-in-law is scrambling to pay off the remaining debt while juggling a job she's not used to. As for my brother and his wife, they'd moved into a cheap apartment, but their lack of money has led to constant arguments. You'd think they'd just leave, but apparently They're also in debt and can't afford to live on their own. My sister-in-law got fed up with this lifestyle and left after having an affair. Well, I do feel sorry for my brother-in-law. It's hard not to think he had it coming. I know it's a bit harsh to say, but I think even my husband would agree. On the other hand, my husband and I are thoroughly enjoying our life in the countryside. Being free from the stress of living with others has been a game changer. And we were blessed with our first child shortly after moving here. This peaceful area, surrounded by nature, suits us perfectly, making our initial worries about leaving the city seem silly. With a comfortable work environment, my career is also on the upswing. I'm more motivated than ever to work hard, especially for a child who's on the way. Thanks to the positive reception of my recent comic, I've even landed a new serial publication. So both my personal and professional lives are going great. Should I actually be thanking my troublesome mother-in-law and her clan for giving me this opportunity to grow?